Well, I mean, definitely look at, not insurmountable, but just.
Good evening and welcome to the Georgetown School Committee meeting of Thursday, November 16th, 2017. If we could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, this, when I say November, I can't believe how quickly the time is flying, so. The big holidays are coming upon us. So before we start the regular business, we do have some minutes we need to approve, so I will make a motion to approve Budget and Finance meeting of October 26, 2017, governance meeting of October 18th, 2017, regular session minutes of October 12th, 2017, and acceptance of warrants 23V18 and 22P18.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Okay, we have Chloe here this evening. We missed you last week, but you were at the homecoming.
I know, we finally had our homecoming dance, which is great, and it turned out great. The DJ, he was awesome, so that definitely made the dance, and the whole night was pretty good.
I
so-
heard, that's great.
Yeah,
Football
I'm happy with
players
how
got to
it.
come.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
and they
heard-
won, so that also
Yeah, that was
made it-
really
yeah,
nice.
That's
that made
great.
it better.
I've heard a lot of good reviews. A lot of kids had a wonderful time.
Yeah, and the setup was great. I had one of the National Honor Society, her name was Julia Giogrande, do this banner. It's just people could take pictures in front of, and it worked. Yeah,
Good
it worked
idea.
out great.
she's so artistic.
Oh, she's great. It
Yeah,
turned out great.
amazing.
Yeah. So today was the dodgeball tournament, which is the senior fundraiser, and I think their name was called the Senders. They won, but the teachers actually did a really good job. I think they made it to semifinals. So
Oh, the teachers
Do they
did.
normally not make it that far?
not really sure, but they did great.
How else can you get your?
I heard they raised $300, so that was really good.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that is good.
I volunteered. I was running the concessions, so they made a lot of money.
That is good.
Good.
And then Into the Woods rehearsals started. That's our play for this year. It's going great. We just got our script this week, so we're starting to look at the script, and we've gone through music, and Mrs. LaFlamme is coming back to help us with that, and so it's glad to have her
I
back.
can never say no to you guys.
Do you and you have a part? What part do you play?
I'm the understudy for Jack's mom.
Jack's mom. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm excited. We'll see how it goes.
Good for you.
So this week was also Spirit Week, and so is next week. So is Pep Rally. Pep Rally's going to be on Wednesday. And yeah.
And then the powder puff game too?
Yep.
Wednesday after school?
Yep. That's going to be interesting. Juniors had their first practice yesterday or 2 days ago, and we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to play in that. And also the football game next Thursday, their last one, and it's home. So hopefully
That's
a lot of
good.
people can go
I hope
to
the
it.
weather is good.
Yeah, me too. So it's not that great.
Yeah, it's been chilly.
Yeah.
It has been
It
chilly.
won't be a mud bowl like
Yeah.
it used to be with the old.
No, with the old field, I know.
Beautiful turf field.
Right. Well, that's good. Thank
That's all I
you.
got.
This is fun time to be going to school though, isn't it? Like every day.
Yeah, yeah. Today I dressed
The
up
different-
as Superwoman because it was fictional character day. Tomorrow's Decade Day, so I have to see what I'm gonna wear. But
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure your mother will have something in there that.
oh yeah,
you
she
could
got some leather jackets. I can wear.
wear. Well, that's good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to do a little bit of a change in the agenda. I'm going to have Mike Anderson come up so we can talk about the maintenance position, the shared maintenance position. Hi, Mike.
Hi. How are you guys?
How's it going?
Good.
Good.
So can I just say, this is our first presentation to you on this project. It is a big decision. It shouldn't be taken lightly. As I explained in the orange notes to you, there's a little history of this. You know, we've been talking and working on this idea for a long time. I think, you know, it wasn't the right time in the past, but it appears now that it's a better time and that it's beneficial potentially both for us and for the town. So this proposal is as a result of the conversations we've been having internally and with Mike Farrell. But we fully expect that this would be, it's on for a vote because what we've been told by the town clerk is if there's any chance that it could be a vote, it could be voted on, you have to let the public know that.
Okay.
Doesn't mean you have to vote on it, but you really can't vote on it if you don't have it down for a vote. So not knowing how people would feel, we just put it on for safekeeping for a vote, just in case. But I'm sort of thinking, we talked about this again today, I'm sort of thinking that this could be like the senior center was, where we did the internal conversations, kind of got everybody's buy-in that we liked the concept, and then we sat down and we created an MOA with the town, MOU, MOA, whatever you call it, with the town, where we actually had Mike at the table, there was a member of the Board of Selectmen, there was a school committee member, we were all there. And we literally just kind of made sure that all the details were kind of included. So this is the sketch of what we think the important things are. Mike Farrell has asked for a little bit more specification, bless you, a little more specification on what the HVAC person would do. So we're working on that in terms of for winterization and what they do in the summer and the plumbing and all the things that we would probably need to do. Then, of course, he would have to get approval from his board. So the point in doing this now is that this wouldn't take place until July anyway, if we do decide to do it. And it gives us time early in the budget season, because if in fact the town does support this and there's a $75,000 position on the table, or combination of positions on the table, we need to appropriately budget for that. We can't be talking about this in March or April and then think that the timing of this is strategic, that it's early in the process, no budgets have been built, and it does give us a little bit of time to, wiggle around what we might want to change or add or get more information about. So that's sort of the context I just want to set before Mike and Suzanne and I try to answer your questions.
So Mike, when you gave us the salary comparisons for these districts, so all these districts have
An HVAC
an
tech.
employee like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's.
Well, like, a lot of schools are, because of prevailing wage and that type of
Right.
stuff, a lot of schools are bringing on their own tradespeople.
Right,
And there is a savings to it. Like we added the electrician, I jotted down a few savings already. Recently, we did the air conditioner project, and we took out the electrical out of the bid and only had them do on the roof of the high school. So we put in new HVACs throughout the high school. So there's approximately around a $30,000 to $35,000 savings by having our own electrician do the work.
Because remember, we couldn't afford
To do it,
going out to bid, we couldn't afford to do the whole project because it was going to cost us prevailing wage. And by doing this, we were
we're
able
able to, buy the supplies ourselves and then have the job done. So, and then when we did the kitchen over, we got a bid on wiring the coffee shop. That
Right.
was $3,200. I mean, he did it in a week's time. He doesn't make $3,200 a week, So I mean, there's a significant
definite
savings
savings.
there.
Yeah,
We moved the ice machine. We've added all kinds of exhaust fans and different things that we would have paid a lot for if we had to pay an electrician.
right.
So is there such a position that a person is both an electrician and a plumber? Because usually you're one or the other.
No, yeah, you went over that. So
You're more likely to be an HVAC person.
and a plumber, yeah. Those two kind of go together.
Okay.
And that's what a lot of schools look for. HVAC people who are also plumbers or plumbing experience. And I mean, we pay an HVAC person every year to service the boilers at all the schools. So there's a lot of routine things that could be done that would be a savings to us.
So I'll tell you what my concerns are, which I think it's a great idea. I mean, I was on the committee years ago
Yeah.
with the
We
superintendent.
look back and started this like
Yeah.
5 or 6 years
I
ago.
mean, Stu Eggenberg was on the Board of Selectmen. We met, a few times, and then
Jim
just.
Lacy was involved.
Yeah, and just seeing all the different contractors that we used, we overlapped, and it was definitely crazy. Something needs to be more streamlined. But in terms of the square footage, thank you for supplying all that. So.
I did give Suzanne one bad number. Did you fix it, Suzanne? Oh.
It's already out.
I gave her the old Pembroke square
Pembroke number.
footage, not
It's
the new,
98,
not the
not
new.
68.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's even, so how do you think this
So
one
I have a-
individual, like, working with,
This is like it's got my chicken scratch all over, but this is the industry like standard. And so what it says is that one maintenance worker for 40,000 square feet.
okay?
If you do the calculations for the school, we end up short, but that's kind of beside the point. If you do the calculations for the buildings we're adding, it's like 1.1 person. So,
Because it was 41,000 square feet.
Yeah,
right, Mike?
41,000 square
We talked
feet.
about it today.
yeah. So it is, the one person really is in the ballpark. I
Okay,
mean, the numbers say that we're a couple people short, but we managed to get everything done, plus bring on a lot of big projects.
right.
So, I mean, we have a great team, and, you know, these numbers, I do think one person would work.
And you do have a great team,
yeah.
so I'm sure with, I'm sure you've had discussions with them.
Yeah, I've talked to them all about it.
Right, and so
Yeah.
they're all, understanding that,
They see how, like, great it is to have an electrician and
Yeah.
not have to wait for somebody to come in, that I think they are all, like, looking forward to having an HVAC guy, too.
okay.
But now,
Even though they're all talented, there's certain things you need a license
Sure.
to do, so.
so in the plan, this is basically all the town would be asking of
Yeah, I mean,
your
it,
department. I mean, there's no
it would increase,
no
like, my
janitorial.
workload as
We
far
don't
as,
have, we're not emptying waste baskets or cleaning
There's no
floors,
janitorial,
or
no,
There's
no,
no
no.
janitorial.
yeah.
Okay.
They would put in work orders just like the teachers do, or the secretaries, and then we would
And
process them.
how would that get prioritized?
Right.
Mike
Well,
would
I prioritize
it.
them now, so I would
Okay.
prioritize them, and obviously life safety would come first, or a broken pipe or something like that.
Right, there, I guess there are a lot of
Versus
factors
hanging
to
a
consider.
TV or
Sure.
a bulletin board or something.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
So if it's run by the school department, does it come out of the budget of the school department?
We talked about invoicing them, that cost of 75,000 every year, like we do for the senior center.
So Mike, that would be the town's contribution. And so what they get, so what it does is it merges the two maintenance departments. So we have our maintenance staff, this particular person becomes part of our staff.
Right.
And as a result, the town and the schools both get Mike, and Mike deploys the appropriate staff to whatever the project is. But we benefit from the HVAC
Right.
/ maintenance guy, and they benefit from our maintenance guys that can go over but we want it to be very specific. Because initially, when Barbie's talking about these initial conversations we had, we were talking about a completely integrated department, which included janitorial, grounds.
Everything.
That's a lot more than we want to bite off. We thought it would be best to start with maintenance, because there are a lot of things that we both need to do. We both need, Mike could schedule inspections at about the same time.
Like
There are
elevator inspections,
elevator
fire extinguisher inspections, sprinkler
You know,
inspections.
He can do a lot of those things, and those just, everybody has to do them. The question about when custodians, Mike said that he's satisfied, he outsources it, and he's satisfied with it. We disagree with him, but we don't want the task, right? So, and then grounds is Peter Durkee's responsibility, and will continue to be Peter Durkee's responsibility. I guess we've been talking about if there was a project and our guys wanted to do it, they could pay our guys overtime to do it, but it wouldn't be done during their normal workday. So
Okay.
let's say the chief wanted to have his floors stripped and waxed, right? If our guys were available and interested, and he wanted to contact Mike, and Mike worked it out, he would just be billed time and a half for the services of our guys, but it would be done outside of their workday.
Okay.
But it's not part of the package deal, and that's why we put in here that it should be annually reviewed. You should get a report every year, because if it doesn't work, Mike, we're gonna be able to look at the work orders, and we're gonna be able to say, gee, we couldn't keep up with it, or, 3/4 of these went to, the town, and, we need more resources, do you know what I mean? But we figured if we did it for a year and tracked the data, we'd have a better sense of whether or not this is working. We're not making a lifetime commitment to it.
And it is like maintenance, it's not capital projects, so like if they need a new roof, we're not putting a new roof on,
Right,
that's something they're
right.
gonna
It's pretty clear as to what
outsource and-
you've agreed to.
Yeah.
You've agreed to do. Let's just be clear, we don't want our schools to suffer.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
I think that's
Yeah,
my
absolutely.
biggest concern,
Yeah.
because we have, our schools right now look great.
Right.
Middle high
Yeah.
school, every time I go in there, I'm very happy with it. The Pearly looks great, and of course, Pembroke.
Yeah.
So we don't want to all of a sudden go in there and see that,
Yeah, things
toilet
aren't going
paper in
good.
the, whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big concern. And also that your crew isn't feeling overwhelmed, and that we're
Yeah.
not putting so much pressure on them, because we do appreciate
Yeah.
all that they do and all that you do. I just don't want to
I mean,
put too much on them.
talking to them, and we all kind of feel like we can do it. We've actually walked around some of the buildings together and checked things out.
Yep.
I guess we really won't know until we have a year and see,
Right.
because,
And I know you're helping them now,
yeah.
as it is, and that's for
Yeah.
nothing. So,
Yeah, no, well, I was just gonna kind of piggyback on that my concern is our buildings are in fabulous shape because of our maintenance people. I'm not sure what the status is of the maintenance of the other buildings. Like if there's, a lot that needs to be done because it hasn't been maintained, and then, and again, I don't know if, we're just not gonna know until those work orders come in, and, Do you have like a punch list?
I think some of the things are probably like capital improvements, because they've let things go so far. And some things will be turned around with maintenance.
right,
So they have to pay for that. So let's say, let's give them an example, Mike.
Well, like, if you came in the front door, the front pillars are rotted. I mean, those are gonna have to be replaced. So they're probably gonna need a carpenter to replace those.
so that's not a
I wouldn't
maintenance.
think that was maintenance, but like hanging these TVs or changing
Changing
lights, ballast, making sure the heat's working.
Maybe
and-
doing some internal painting.
Yeah.
You know, maybe replacing carpet, right?
Yeah,
If it was-
carpet,
if it was
ripped or needed to be
it was
replaced.
ripped to, something like that, but we don't see it like being capital. And so if an individual department needs something, what they would do is they'd contact Mike, they put the work order in. Mike would, they have to have the money in their budget. Mike would basically assess their budget, charge their budget.
yep.
So we're not taking money out of our school department budget to do that. That's coming out of the various departments. They have money in their budgets right now. So this isn't like we're gonna tell everybody, okay, now you gotta pull all your cookies into our cookie jar, right? And you're not gonna have anything. We're gonna do it all. We're saying, no, you keep your stuff. You keep your contracted service line. You keep your supply line. If you have a problem, you put your work order in. If it's something that's within our structure and our ability to do, we do it. We bill that department. If it's something that goes beyond the scope, like let's say our HVAC person has plumbing experience but isn't a
licensed
licensed plumber, and there's a major plumbing issue that happens, they're gonna have to contract
That out
out of
there.
their money. That's not gonna be us.
Right.
So that's why when we sit down with Mike and, we need to like go over these kind of examples and say, let's just be really clear here, because we just don't want there to be any confusion. That's why I think if this committee sort of conceptually thinks that we should continue the talks with the town, I think that's when we need to move into this next phase. To make sure we can get, then you can approve the MOA. Do you know what I mean? You'd approve that. and
Right.
We go forward with that, and I think that could be done. I mean, your questions are the questions we anticipated, and hopefully you've got some information in there. If there's more information we need to get you, we're happy to do it.
Yeah, no, the information I thought was good. I'm definitely interested in seeing it move forward.
Yep.
Again, I told you my concerns. I would like to participate in a meeting with the town administrator if I could, and, just
Yeah.
make sure that we're all on the same page. But I definitely think myself, it's worth moving forward with, and then,
I mean, they asked us today if we take their storm windows down, like, they don't even have people to
do that
do
stuff.
that, simple tasks. Like, a lot of the things I think that they want done will be very quick and simple. And I mean, obviously, there's maintenance, but like Carol said, I call for elevator inspections for all the schools and set it up all for one day. So we just add these buildings to it.
Right.
Like,
Just
these
as
things
we
will
do.
just be routine
Right.
on a spreadsheet that I just
I
check
think
off.
that if we were doing janitorial, I think it's a whole different.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
custodial part of it would be way
Right.
too much. But the,
But they're happy with their custodian anyways,
Yeah.
yeah, so.
well, good.
Yeah.
That's, yeah,
For the most
that's
part,
fine.
yeah.
The, again, I think the partnership,
Yeah.
you know, we partner with so many, you know, with the police
Groups,
department.
yeah.
I think that in itself is great. So, I think more,
Did Michael Hinchliff talk to you about, I spoke with him yesterday and he was kind of wondering if he really wanted to vote on it because he knew he wouldn't be here tonight. And I suggested if he had concerns or thoughts that he should talk to you.
yeah,
Um,
he did, yeah, that's why I don't,
okay.
yeah, we're not gonna vote tonight
Okay.
on it.
okay,
I just
right.
definitely
Yeah,
think
I
it's,
just-
it's worth
yeah.
continuing. And then,
Setting up some meetings with town.
yeah.
Okay.
But I'd like to see that done sooner rather than later, because I know we're all on a timeline in terms
the
of
budget.
getting the budget.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you bringing it to the Budget and Finance too. A couple of weeks ago, we talked
yeah,
about this,
yeah.
so this isn't a surprise by any means, but how does everybody feel about that?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good plan.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Okay.
All right,
Then we'll do that.
Thank you very
Set
much.
it up.
Should we
Thank you,
vote
Mike.
just
Yeah.
because if we're all in favor of it, it would be a majority anyway, or should we?
No, let's,
No, we'll wait.
We'll just, yeah,
Okay.
we'll just wait.
all right.
Thank you,
Have a great
Mike.
night. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll see you in the morning. Okay. Okay, we have the PTA here and the GEF?
Yes.
Okay, so we, yeah. Do you want to come on up?
Sure.
So we have Jenna Connors and Kristen Machiavelli.
I'm Jenna Connors.
Hi.
Nice to meet everyone.
Hi.
Carol.
Hi, ladies.
Thanks for coming out tonight.
Great opportunity to
appreciate
get in front of you guys.
And I apologize, I couldn't print my document, so I'm going off of my notes on my
We're the
email.
digital
So
age.
I apologize.
We're good.
That's okay. Okay, so the PTA has been busy because you have a big event coming up this weekend.
Yes, we do.
Exciting.
Our biggest event of the year is the PTA auction. Yes. So we've decided to have a theme. Well, we kind of changed everything up a little bit, actually. But our theme this year is Georgetownopoly, which piggybacked off of a game board that apparently was created a few years ago for the town. I didn't live here then, but I could be a part of this Georgetownopoly. And we brought in, we looked outside of the PTA e-board, understanding our skill sets and our strengths. We looked outside of the board to find some event planners. And luckily, two of them, one of them was at the high school, and another one was a mom of a kindergartner. So they've been facilitating and managing all of it. And we've been chairs of different subcommittees. I'm in charge of marketing and communications. You've seen all the Facebook posts. They will be ending come Saturday. Maybe a Sunday post about post-auction. But we have had a crew just boots on the ground calling every company in Georgetown. And we worked with the town clerk last year for casino night to just say, hey, could we have a list of all the companies and that are in Georgetown? And this list is huge. I had no idea the amount of industry that was in our town. So we've really been using that as our, call sheet, for lack of better words. And we click off who doesn't want to be called again or who is interested, and we've been talking to communities even in Ipswich or even in Raleigh. There's so many different types, Boxford companies that just want to support our town because their customers are in this town as well. So we've been able to raise over $10,000 of corporate sponsors. The idea was they get a property on the Monopoly board.
Yeah, that's great.
And it's been a lot of fun. Honestly, it's been just a really fun project to work on. Can't wait for you to see the decorations because they're larger than life pieces of Monopoly boards. We printed out huge Monopoly cards of the property, so the sponsors have a lot of representation throughout the whole evening. We actually created a Monopoly board ourselves and put all of their logos on each property. So it's just going to be a fun night. We have a significant amount of silent auction items. We have a mystery meals. We have pick of the auction, which is a fan favorite.
It's always favorite.
We have a barrel of booze. We have 50-50. And we have beautiful children's projects from the classrooms at Pembroke. We have grade baskets. We even got the high school to participate this year and make grade baskets. So there's just been a lot of community, a lot of preparation, and we're very excited for Saturday. We've got a lot to do still, but we're really excited to raise more money.
And it's at
The
De
PTA.
Burrows?
I'm sorry?
De Burrows?
De Burrows, yes, thank you. So there was no rhyme or reason with De Burrows other than let's mix things up a little bit. And if you look at the logistics of getting to De Burrows from Georgetown, it's just as easy as Ipswich, which was 2 years ago. And also, their menu is fabulous. And we were looking for a different venue that could help control the scene going from the live auction into the, silent auction going into the live auction and controlling just the event. Sounds controlling, but we wanted it to flow very well.
And they
so
said that there was going to be more food, right? It was
Yes.
So people would, if they didn't feel like they had to go out to dinner beforehand, there'd be, food to eat there.
I would say the two questions I've received the most have been what to wear and really what's there going to be to eat. And so we've posted the menu a couple times, actually based off of a couple people from GEF reaching out to me because we have great relationships. They said, why don't you post it one more time? There's still a lot of people asking about the appetizers and what is dinner going to look like. Desserts have all been donated by 4 or 5 companies in Georgetown, generously, taking care of that cost. So we have a significant amount of appetizers and a small buffet for dinner. So I think everyone will be delighted with the food that we chose. Yeah. We made a point to make sure that, if you're going to spend $50 to come to an auction, you're going to be fed, you're going to have some great entertainment. So it's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
Good. So what else do you have going on for the year?
Sure. So far, what we've provided to date to the school community has been makerspace. We've made donations there. Peer mentoring at the high school. That was actually one of the larger fundings that we supported. Kate Irons actually lives on my street. She's my nanny, and she it does the peer mentoring and just gave me such good feedback that we were like, we need to consider doing this again. Yeah, it was a very positive experience, and she's been doing it for a few years, so you get to see it over a timeline. Right, of success. Camp Kiev, we also supported. Carol, you also had an event earlier in the year that we supported.
She supported the first day speakers.
First day of school.
Yes, yes.
For the teachers. Yeah.
And then
What did you do for Kiev? Did you just give a blanket
Yes,
amount?
it was an amount that was requested to support.
To supplement them, sure.
Exactly. And just recently worked with Mrs. Fazio through using our Scholastic dollars to purchase $1,200 worth of books for the school. And there's more to come because we had a very successful book fair that closed last week. We actually raised 25% more than we've raised from the previous year. I think it comes down to we've learned how to market better as a PTA. We have a great e-board, a newer e-board, but we also have some tenure on our e-board. But we also have a large community of people who want to help out and have different skill sets, and we've been able to kind of tap into those skill sets. So the book fair was very successful. We rolled with a few different schedule changes, but it was a really fun event. Really fun event. Nice to have it in November. That was the feedback from the teachers. Usually book fair, which I wasn't a part of that, but it was in September historically, and it was just so quick after the year started. So this year it was in November, which is Literacy Month, and Mrs. LeMay was the first one to say, I really enjoyed that my curriculum got started, and then I could help make recommendations towards books or, help steer children towards different types of readings because the curriculum's already started. So she was able to look at the book fair list and guide the children. And what was great about Kiev actually happening around the same time was I worked with Monica McGinnis, and she was like, kiddos, there's no technology allowed. Buy a book. Be prepared for a book on the way there and a book on the way back. So it was just a fun time. The children really enjoyed themselves. I think the parents did too. We did an evening event as well that was really successful because Pearlie, their PTO, decided not to do one this year. Completely understand why. It's a big feat to do a book fair. Cheryl volunteered. Thank you for all your time. Was a lot of time. So we invited, mostly it was for Pearlie. We did the evening event, but it turned out we received a lot of attendance from Pembroke as well because parents enjoy the book selection process with their children. So excited to get more books in the hands of all the schools, not just Pembroke. So we're talking to Scholastics. We have a significant amount of Scholastic dollars saved now that we had such significant sales. What else can they do? What other programs do they have? Buying books is fantastic, but Do you have speakers? I don't know. Do you have curriculums? We're going to try to push them as a partner a little bit more to see what else they can do for us with these Scholastic dollars. Ask more of our partners.
Did the middle school have a book fair?
Not that I'm aware of.
No?
Not yet, no. And do they, I don't know if they have had one in the
Yeah,
past.
they've had.
They haven't.
Okay.
They haven't had any
But they haven't
recently.
had-
I say, I don't
Yeah.
think recently.
And
This is my second year on the Erie
It's been
board.
quite a while.
Has it been quite a while?
And I think
They've had
one
one.
reason was the sales weren't all that good. You know, it wasn't really, didn't have the same vitality as the elementary school fairs.
Well, I think I can talk to our e-board, but also Scholastics and find out what their recommendations are, right? What have they learned from the middle school book fairs over the years? What are they seeing with trends?
How can they
Before
build
jumping
sales?
into saying, yeah, we'll do one. Like, you know, how is it working now in this day and age from 5 years ago or something? So, yeah, absolutely. I think that'd be fun to do. And did they ever have them at the high school?
Peter, did you ever
Sorry,
have book
Peter.
fairs at the high school?
Not the high school, middle school.
Middle school, yes. Okay.
All, every year.
Do you know if one's planned this year?
Not by the PTA.
Okay.
So, something to maybe look at for
Yeah,
2018. Okay.
So what do you have for, like, the parents of the middle high school?
No, that's a fair question. So we
Like how to
receive
get them
most-
involved.
Yeah, it's very fair question. It's actually, I'm just going to jump down to what our plans are for the beginning of the year, if you don't mind, and then I'll go back to other stuff because I think this is very relatable. If I could table your question for just a second, we're looking at a process review for our PTA mission statement and our PTA vision. We appreciate what we've been able to do so far with STEM and very focused on the donations we've made to the middle and the high school with regards to televisions. We know about those the last couple of years. Significant amount of funds went that way. But we really need to look at how can we get more community involvement. You know, in the past couple of years, there's been some challenges with diversity and how can we help bring in more diversity into our community. And a lot of parent outcry, unfortunately, on Facebook is talking about diversity or lack thereof. And so we're going to be focusing on that topic when we talk about changing our mission statement and our vision.
Excellent.
To parlay on top of that, to go directly to your question, we're finding that our PTA meetings PTA general sessions have low attendance. And that, in our mind, is unacceptable. What can we do to get more not just the elementary school parent involved, but how do we get the middle school and the high school parent involved? And there's a lot of feedback on that with the amount of sports, the amount of activities, the amount of clubs that any given family is in 5 days of the business week. You're exhausted. Come 6 or 7 o'clock at night when the PTA is asking you to come meet. But we have to change that. We have to make it just as important. We're having this huge auction to raise funds, and we want it to go toward, we want people's involvement and voice with how to spend that with the school, but also with our community. So we're deep diving into that, Barbie. I don't have an answer for you right now, but there's definitely this gap. Something happens in 4th grade, and I don't know what that secret sauce is because I have a 2nd grader and a kindergartner, so I'll find out soon. But through data and through a couple surveys, we're hoping to discover like what happens in that 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade mark that the parent involvement tends to go away from this sector and more towards the sports or more towards the music or more towards the arts. I mean, it makes sense. Your children are focusing now rather than being so spread across the board with diverse likes and interests that maybe we put them in or they all want to be in. And they start to focus on what do I really want to do with my time? What can I do with my time and my homework and my school and my family? So I think it's a big question we definitely don't have the answer to right now, but it's going to be a focus for us. So
Yeah, well, it's not, I mean, the parents right now that are at the middle high school, their kids are at the middle high school, me being one of them.
Yep.
I mean, those parents have done it, have been
Exactly.
there, done it.
You're where I am right now.
and have been amazing. You know, as we went through the whole,
Yeah.
you know, Pearly to Pembroke,
yeah.
and I also found the same thing. And you know, people would, once they got to the middle high school, it was a little different. So I don't know if it is the mentality of, oh, it's an elementary thing. I'm not saying. I would just love to see more things at that middle high school level.
That's great. I think it's very
Because
fair feedback. Thank you.
You have been very generous with all the technology over there. I was there the other day, and I like the little stickers underneath them that said donated by. I think that's
The removable, unremovable stickers I bought.
well, I think that's
funny.
great because parents will go in and say, wow, the PTA, because I think a lot of them assume that it came, probably not from the budget, but from somewhere other than the
Right,
PTA. So
taxes or
I
something.
loved seeing that. But I was always one of those parents too that was like, oh, once my kids get to middle high school, I will still, be part of the PTA. I will still help as much as I can and things like that. But it does definitely, your priorities tend to go with the academics and the athletics and things like that. But I would love to see maybe more of a middle high school presence.
Sure.
Like even at the auction and things like that.
Yes. Right. I 100% agree with you. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Bringing that up.
So Jenna, how many general membership meetings are there a year?
3
Okay,
Oh,
and
wow.
how many e-board meetings do you have?
monthly.
Oh, okay, so,
We even meet in July. We meet throughout the year too.
right.
So you only expect the other parents to come
3 times a year. And that's from feedback, and even I believe they did a survey previous to my being on the e-board. It was about time, it was about quality, and trust me, we're talking about what can we do to make the meetings more impactful, but also draw attention.
Interesting, fun.
Yes, and for me, I mean, to be honest with you, I read the meeting notes from the last general session, and they were talking about the survey. Everyone was talking about the 6th grade survey. So for all the surprise that's been happening recently, it's like, well, we were talking about it at the PTA.
Well, we talk about it here too.
Yeah, we talk about it here too. So it's partnering it all together. How do we get that message out there?
I know. It's not just the PTA though. I mean, it's many different, the superintendent
That's a
and
good
Pam,
point.
who has been with Georgetown Cares for years. I mean, it's hard getting people
Sure.
out. It is hard getting people out at night.
We're trying to figure out that secret sauce. We've been able to figure out some sauces and some of the, and what I've appreciated about the previous e-board who've been about 6 years before I came on, they were excited to have a different group of people, just with a different skill set, and they were ready to take a break too. So I think with their leadership and with their guidance, we've been able to change up a lot of things that we've been doing on the PTA. So more to come.
And change is always good. It keeps
Change is
things,
good. Yeah. I think it's and it's needed. But things can get boring,
I mean, the PTA really does do a lot for the middle high school, especially with all the technology and with the maker spaces, and if parents just can make that connection into, this is the group that's helping our students so
Sure.
much.
We want to do more give backs. So at the beginning of the year, we did. It was our 2nd annual Tea and Tissues, which was such a sweet, fun event, and it's just for the parents, and the kindergartners coming in, and it was just a sweet little morning breakfast to meet everyone. And what could we do at the high school? We can't do tea and tissues. You might not
Graduation.
graduation. What could we do? I think that's a great idea. Actually, what could we do as a give back for the graduation?
Also,
Part 2.
I'm a big supporter of field trips, and I know students in the middle high school don't go on a whole lot of field trips.
Okay.
And
So
my,
right
my
now-
son, my 11th grader just went. His English teacher, Mrs. Weldon, just took their class on a field trip to the Salem, the witch house.
Sure.
As part of the curriculum, studying the
Yeah, they're
Crucible,
doing the Crucible.
and I was just in awe of the fact that she managed that. She got that together.
Sure.
And the students got a lot out of it. I mean, my son, he hadn't been on a field trip since I think the 5th grade, not counting Kiev.
Right.
And so, just to get out and go and see the world.
Fresh air,
and
I
I
Yeah.
agree. I
he
think
was
it's good
so
for field trips
excited.
because they
Yeah.
learn some.
This
I know
wasn't-
recently a group of kids went to the art museum.
Oh yeah, who did
Is
that?
it PBS?
Right? Am I right?
Mrs. Cannon brought
no,
everybody
they
but
weren't.
ceramics.
And
Okay.
Mrs.
Yeah.
Schwartz called.
Museum of Fine Arts.
Yes.
Yes.
Too.
Couldn't think of the name.
It's okay. But yeah. So
Museum of Fine Arts.
we implemented a policy last year that we would pay up to 50% of the field trips up to $1,000 per grade. So in the elementary school, we have grade directors on the e-board, and we do have a middle high school representative on the e-board, but that's the gap, right? How can someone, how many people do we need? What would the middle high school like to support in having the PTA voice kind of get there? So I think I might be changing from kindergarten to go to the middle high school to start helping look at changes there for the PTA. So there's definitely more to come, which is exciting. Yes, but the give backs, you know, and we talked about with the library giving back books, ski club we support. We've had a few fundraisers already come and go. Mixed bags. We did the cookie walk this year, which was a lot of fun. It was very sweet. Little fundraiser that we did.
Oh, at the holiday fair.
Yes,
right?
the holiday fair. Yes, that was fun. We have the auction, the biggest one coming up on Saturday. We have balked tops for November, ending at the end of the month, and the yearbook, which is a huge project for us that we support. So we've got a lot going on. Spelling bee, also restaurant nights, some fundraising coming up. So
That one.
believe it or not, we only do 4 fundraisers a year. Doesn't sound, it feels like a lot more, especially when we hit families early with the mixed bags in September. It can kind of feel like a lot. But we've got a lot on the table when it comes to next year, looking at our vision, looking at our mission statement. And my background is process review, process changes. So it's just kind of a perfect timing right now for us to look at what could we do, what shouldn't we do, what's the right thing to do. So that's it.
That's great. We appreciate all that you do for the
thank you.
community, for the kids. We know how much hard work and effort and time goes into it, so we greatly appreciate it. I know the administrators do as well, because without your financial support, a lot of things couldn't, you know, occur. But I love the fact that with the field trips, because it touches pretty much all the kids.
Absolutely.
Which is great.
Thank you. I'll take that back to the e-board room meeting soon.
Yeah, you're doing a great job.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Good, Jen.
Did the whole Monopoly board fill up with sponsorship?
2 spots left. One's reserved for an unnamed person. There have been a few people that wanted to stay anonymous. So one's reserved right now that the check hasn't come in.
Yeah.
And then I'm talking to a certain selectman about another one potentially. So I'm hoping that Kentucky Avenue sells tonight. Thank you. No pressure. If you see Kentucky Avenue's blank at the auction,
We know one of the Board of Selectmen didn't come.
Yeah.
no, they've been great. So
So how is the GEF doing?
So, going well. The grant cycle is gonna start to be, you know, the prevalent focus now. We had a great, you know, we had really good grant proposals written last year. Probably the best that I've seen since I've been on there for the past 4 years. And we're hoping for that same kind of flow. We seem to get really good feedback at the middle, really good submissions at the middle high school level. Pembroke, we get them, but not as much as we do
I know.
at the higher grade levels. So I don't know what we can do as to kind of promote the process a little more, or I know Kip's trying to figure out what we can do to get out there more, get more exposure, that the funds are available and that we would like.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, you're trying to give away money. It's
Right, right.
I think the thing too is because years ago, a lot of Pembroke teachers did write grants, and it was like people would piggyback off each other.
Yeah,
You know, And
yeah.
I don't know if just those teachers aren't there anymore, so the newer teachers don't know or aren't confident enough to take the jump forward. But I feel like, you know, one teacher in a grade level would write one and they'd encourage somebody else. So there was a lot at Pembroke at one time.
At one time.
And I think that's probably what's happening at the middle high school. You
Yeah.
have some teachers who are all gung-ho about writing the grants.
Yep.
And they're getting other people on board, and that's,
I think it might have something also to do with Pembroke right now. The new school has given them a lot of resources.
Yep, yep.
So many of the grants that might have gotten written in the past for Pembroke were around technology.
Yeah.
They were involving smart boards or those kind of things. That sort of, they have that now.
They have it now, yeah.
So, you know, I think maybe it's promoting things that have more to do with an arts focus.
Yep.
You know, maybe the GF would like to support an artist in residence or something
Yep.
where, you know, every class can somehow be part of something as a part of a theme.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen. We really haven't, except for Square One Art.
Right.
We really have never sort of really embraced
Expanded
that.
on the art,
So,
yeah.
you know, I think maybe Margaret, you know, a couple of her staff could be helpful in just kind of like, well, what is it the new teachers that know enough about it? What is it that stops people from applying? Is it just that they don't have a need, or they don't, they don't know what kind of projects might get funded, I don't know.
And I don't think it's necessarily the, because the process of writing the proposal is not too daunting because we have teachers that write multiple,
yeah.
and you have to write one for each project. So
Yeah.
I know, I don't think that that's necessarily the case.
We have a new science curriculum now, so,
Yeah.
maybe there's some ideas that the teachers might have of ways to enhance their science curriculum.
Yep.
Maybe with field trips or, speakers or programs that come in, I mean, perhaps, we don't know.
Yep.
But
So
we
those-
should talk about that.
Yeah, I think we should, definitely. And those grants have to be, those proposals have to be in by the 27th of February.
Okay.
So right after February vacation, so the teachers can kind of have some time to focus on it, and, it's the Tuesday after February vacation.
Okay.
Gala 2018 planning is underway. We're trying to shake things up a bit.
Always look
So
forward to
much
that.
like the PTA, they kind of went in a different direction, and it seemed to be very, it's admirable what they've done. Actually, I look at Jenna all the time, and I did everything that she's done and brought to this point. All of them really, it's pretty admirable. So we're kind of meeting and figuring out which direction that we can take it in for April. For our
So
next
is there
fundraiser.
is there an actual
No,
date?
not
Okay,
an
so you're
actual
still-
date yet,
okay.
yeah,
But
yeah, because
April
we
is
would
the
have the
month.
conversation with you
Yeah.
and figure that part out. But,
You're looking at April?
we're looking at April, which has been in.
Usually it's early April,
Yeah,
yeah.
usually it's April. We just did Links in, September, which was extremely successful,
Mm-hmm.
over, $9,000 profit. So that was,
And
one
Pam
of our
does such
better
a
ones.
wonderful job.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
yeah, Pam Barubi, Barubi, yeah,
Barubi.
she's just,
She
Slime
works
Act, yeah,
for, she
yep.
works for a golf organization,
Yeah.
so
Well,
she
yeah.
donates
yeah.
they donate a lot of
I
stuff.
mean, if we didn't have her, I don't know that it would be so successful because it's
amazing.
just, yeah. And she's promised to keep going with that for as long as she can for us, so that's
And the
pretty
golfers
good.
are so generous, with
Yeah.
buying the raffle tickets and, they
Yeah.
really love it.
And I think the biggest thing was the initial funding for Makerspace came from GEF.
That was
so
great.
That was big. And then the other one was, last year, that was great, was the new sound equipment for the middle high school, for the drama, for the productions and such. So that
Has
was a
that been
big-
installed yet?
I thought so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Oh, good.
Yeah. That was used for, I believe they were able to use that for Shrek. Yeah.
Oh, then what is the other, then there's other things going on there. No, but there's something that the Lowells are doing.
Yeah, they're
Right?
working on something related to sound.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah, I think this was like new, like microphones and actual
Yeah.
amplify, like
Yeah.
yeah,
amplifying
and the
me-
Shrek
mechanism.
play was awesome.
Yeah.
So
So-
I could hear them all.
You could hear them all.
Yeah,
And Liz Marquetti, I know she works closely with she did a lot for auction, for your auction.
Yep.
She's always writing some great grants and,
She does.
getting funding for,
energy.
for her programs. So yeah, people like that really, if we can keep getting the submissions and the money's there to fill them, so
Yeah.
it's good if it's being utilized.
that's great. So how many people do you have on your board?
We have four elected officials, which we just had an election this week. And then we have 6 general members in addition to the 4 elected. So we are also looking at ways that we can kind of branch out, get some more general members on board and some participation. That's a biggie for all of us that have been doing it for a little while. So I know we're going to put a focus on that for this year. The new board that was elected this past week, Kip Durney was reelected as president. I have a 2-year term as vice president. Kendra Church has a 2-year term as secretary, and Dave Magalio has a 1-year term as treasurer.
Great.
So,
That's awesome. Well, we appreciate your support. It seems like every school committee meeting we have, we always end with a donation from one of your organizations. So we're always very thankful for that.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
We know
please,
how hard-
pass.
we know
pass
how
that
hard it
along
is.
to your boards.
Yeah.
We do know how hard it is.
Yeah.
It may be speaking to the point about when you get to the older grades, when the parent participation drops off. I wonder if it's just like a kind of a burnout thing that,
hear that
they've
from
been
parents.
doing it for so long. You know, like
It's
my
someone
oldest is a
else's
fifth
turn.
grader, and I have two younger ones, and I keep saying I don't know how how long. You know, I mean, I want to keep going as long as I can, but I don't know like what the realistic.
Yeah, no, I
expectation-
do think it is that, and I think what I, it's not necessarily getting them to like come and volunteer and things, but maybe, I know they do think that the auction can be geared more towards, because of the projects. You know, that was always the big thing, when we had the auction, it was always the project, so I just wonder if there is a way to highlight like something from the middle high school students that would cause the parents to go
Yeah.
and have
Yeah.
another event.
Yeah.
You know,
Completely
because-
agree. Ms. Liz Marquette's been a great bridge for us because we started with, could the grades do baskets like the elementary school grades? And yeah, they could, and they did. Sometimes you have to
Well,
just ask.
they've always done baskets.
For some reason, the last couple years, I think there's just been changes in
Well,
people
that's
and
interesting,
requests.
because middle high school has always,
Yeah, there's something from the school store,
Done.
usually Peter's.
Yeah.
Oh yes, the
they've
Blue
always
Crew,
done
they
baskets.
definitely donate something nice, but we're trying to more focus on the grades
As
specifically.
opposed to the
And I
general.
think it's just a different setup that a few of the parents that are on the e-board now, we all have younger families, the kiddos are younger. So it's about getting in a good mix, healthy mix of everything.
Yeah.
I'd love teachers to be on the e-board if we could. I mean, it's a PTA, right? So we've got a lot of ideas, and we need to just be very strategic and execute on a few at a time, right? Like one down at a time for Tom Brady, right? So that's going to be our goal.
Okay.
that's good.
And I'll probably parlay very nicely with yours. So
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I'm happy to help you in any
thanks.
way.
Thank you. That'd be great.
And I'm sure on Sunday, you'll be all like, right? You'll be like, you'll have plenty of extra time on your hands, because I'm sure it's been a very busy summer, fall
It
for
has,
this.
yes.
But I wish you the best.
Thank you so much. We're very excited.
But
So
thank
thank
you guys both
See you
for
there.
coming out.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you so
thank you,
much.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, ladies.
Hey.
Yes, we did.
Yep, we did that. Thank you for including the Boston Magazine ranking. I think that was great.
Great.
Yep, 52. Georgetown Middle High School was ranked 52. And it was, I love always looking at that. And it's not, you know, the top 10 doesn't seem to change. And it's not, you know, I know that you will say, well, look at their per pupil spending, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So I was thrilled with that.
20,000, 18,000, 22,
Yeah.
17. That's a lot of money.
Right. So that was always nice. I shared that with a lot of my friends that don't live in Georgetown, you know, just to show them.
It was a district ranking. I mean, the thing about Boston Magazine is they
Yeah.
change their ranking and how
They do.
look
Right.
at, you know, quite often it's just the high school that they're looking at, and that's when we tend to rank
I love it.
really high up there.
So last year, we were ranked 24?
24.
Is that right?
But it was high school.
That was a
That was the high school,
Yeah.
and this one's
Yeah.
the district, yeah. And it's funny because they all these different magazines or organizations that come out with these have such different, a lot of them you have to look at the different criteria
Yes.
and find out, like, wait a minute, why did this say 24 and this one is,
Sure.
you know, 65 or whatever?
And then what
it's
weights-
the criteria.
And then what
Yeah,
weights- and then what
exactly.
weights more than anything
Yeah.
else? Like, how does per pupil expenditure weight in relation to class size and student teacher ratio? I don't know how. That's never clear. Like how that all works.
Yeah, yeah,
But
but
we never know. We just look at the number and say, are we in the top? Like in this case, we were in the top 40. You know, which
was awesome.
40%.
yeah.
Well, and as far as the 125, is that just in the
Greater Boston.
Greater
area.
Boston? So that's not all of
No,
Massachusetts. I was gonna
because
say, that seems
that
like,
would be
Right.
300 that would
Yeah.
be around
Yeah.
370.
right, that
Distance.
sounded more reasonable.
Right.
Yeah, I love looking at
So it's
things
not
like
something
that.
we can shoot for because we never know what
No,
they're
it's
going to be
not, no.
looking for.
Right, I know.
No, that's right.
Well, and I wouldn't really see us dropping from 24 to, you know, like in a year.
No.
But because the criteria is different, but, you know, looking at it, it's like, oh,
Well, that's assuming that they keep the same criteria
Criteria.
even for the high schools, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just, it's.
Or that they weight it the same
they
or
weight-
differently, or, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
you don't know.
I tell you what, there's a lot of angst across the state in those rankings because people that aren't listed, you know, or are listed near the bottom, we're like, what, you know, what, how do you make that decision? So I think there is a lot of angst about it.
Yeah.
But Boston Magazine does what Boston Magazine wants to do, right?
Right,
So
right.
they don't really listen to the pressure, I don't think.
Yeah, but we should be very proud.
Yes, we
And
are
we
very
are,
proud.
yes, very. So we have to vote on the school improvement plans?
Yes, you do.
Did I miss the?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, just in case you had any questions on any of the action steps, remember I promised you that we put these in this time.
yes, so let me, make a motion to accept the district's strategic plan,
Steps.
2017-2018 action steps.
The district improvement
I'm
plan? Is-
It's the district strategic plan.
Oh, okay. It's just listed differently.
I know, it's, yeah, I went by what the headline is.
Yeah.
Strategic plan.
Yeah.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Did you, have some questions about the,
So,
or are you good?
Oh, about
the plan?
the Pembroke plan.
So do you guys want to come up, Peter and Margaret?
Well, Margaret actually answered one of my questions.
I thought
in
that
an
she
email.
did. in the email,
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Because it was around RTI.
Right.
As I sent an email in my head, it seemed a lot shorter
Yeah,
as I
no.
started writing.
Right. But maybe I'll probably ask the question again so you can
Sure,
just
yeah,
explain
let's do
it
that.
so they can hear what.
Absolutely.
So so that's
question
me,
was?
right? Well, the question was, what is RTI looking like right now at Pembroke in different grades, and what are students doing if they are already reaching benchmark and don't need the extra dose of instruction?
So the first year that we were together at the Pembroke School, we carved out a period of time called WIN, What I Need, across every grade level. And it was a challenge because for that to really be effective when there's a specific period of time, no new instruction could happen. So that was the time where some children were getting services through an IEP, some children were taken out of the room for the intervention. But then it did leave the majority of kids in the room. And so without any new instruction, it was always looking at something maybe like an enrichment to do. But we just really felt like it kind of stops the day, and time is so short and valuable. So the next year, and the way we've done it from now on, is the intervention, kindergarten through grade 5, is actually within a literacy or math time. So it will be within the literacy block. So all the students are in the room for the focus lesson, and then if anyone needs an intervention, they come out during that independent practice. So other children will be getting guided reading, and then, so if they're taken out for an intervention, when they come back, then they would have their small group instruction. So that, it doesn't interfere with any of the learning. Grade 6, we do have to carve out time because we have 5 content classes. You can't have a child getting their intervention or service and missing that class. So we still do have that half-hour time where children get services or intervention or an enrichment.
And what does the enrichment look like? Book clubs? Is that
Well,
what?
there'll be book clubs or STEM activities, or in a math group, they're actually online participating, and it's a Wall Street stock market type activity. So there's just all different, and then they'll rotate. So every intervention cycle, depending on what kids need, everyone will have an opportunity to kind of cycle through.
Answer my question. And then my other question was just in regard to PBIS.
Right.
Which I know has been a focus, and I know there's been a lot of professional development. And we know about the leaves and how the leaves sort of get caught being good.
Right, right.
And I've actually seen the posters with the common language of, you know, expectations of walking in the hallway and the cafeteria. But I was wondering what, or how else, because PBIS is sort of that intervention for behavior.
Right.
Like, what would that look like on a more individual basis?
Right. So again, what we had, an action step that we actually did last year was to start a social, emotional, behavioral student assistance team. So it was just like the academic SAT, where a child might be brought to the committee if there's an academic issue. You know, the teacher brings the child. You know, we look at the data, discuss what's being done in the room, and then suggest maybe an intervention for the child. So the SEBSAT, as we call it, is a similar process. So a child who's having social, emotional, or behavioral issues in the classroom, the teacher would bring the child to the committee. And again, this is one prong of it. And then looking at data, talking with a classroom teacher, maybe an observation by one of the adjustment counselors, we would again look at that tier 2 instruction. And so, for instance, perhaps an intervention would be a Lions Quest curriculum with one of the adjustment counselors. So that's not really something that all children, it's not our universal instruction for every child, but there are groups of children who require that extra assistance, so maybe a child would join that group. Or maybe a child needs a behavior plan that, for instance, we have a child who the behavior plan was using a timer for, for the child to participate in the morning meeting. So they have a timer. So every 5 minutes, they get to have a break and go off and do something independent and then come back. And, or maybe another child, maybe it's more intensive intervention. So rather than coming out once for a lunch bunch, maybe they require that 2 or 3 times. So those are all those tier 2 that are a little more intensive than that universal instruction.
That answers my question.
Okay. And thank you for kind of alerting us to the fact that you had that question so that Margaret could come and give you the answer. You know,
No, well,
we really appreciate that when that happens, just so we can, be ready for the question.
Well, I failed to mention in my email, as I was reading the school improvement plan.
Yeah, because I totally missed that. Then I was like, oh, are you crazy? So I said to Margaret, oh, that's where that comes from. So no problem.
So, sorry about that.
No, it's fine.
Does anybody else have questions about it? Under goal 3, implementation of PBIS and cooperatively engage in monitoring progress. So where it says data sources, workshops on building school culture and expectations. So
Is that the? Where
it's under goal 3.
Are you on the table? Are you on the tables?
Yeah. Do you see that under there where it says data sources, workshops on building school culture and expectations? Do we have PD on that? Like for building school culture? Like how do you get like the teachers all to like buy into this?
Well, I think that was actually the work that we did last year. That really was the whole year through the PBIS committee, and then bringing, looking at all aspects of PBIS, and then bringing it to the faculty at our professional gatherings and through leadership, so that we were all on the same page of what we want the school to look like. Because that really is one of the hallmarks of PBIS, that, and especially for a new school where you don't have, sometimes when a school has been in existence for years and years, the culture develops, even you're unaware of how it develops, but
Right.
it does. But with a new school and 3 different schools coming together, we really did spend time of how do we want this new school to look, what do we want it to sound like, what are the expectations? And once we had agreed that that's how we wanted it to look and to feel like, that really helped bring us together as the school culture, so that we're all working toward the same goal, we're all moving in the same direction. So that really was a contributing factor to us being a cohesive unit.
And then how do you, though, keep checking in and making sure that everybody is still like following through
Yeah,
with
how's
that?
it measured?
Well, it is measured, the PBIS committee now meets twice a month. And so we collect data from teachers about all the aspects, you know, the expectations of how we want the behaviors to look. And so teachers are collecting that data, just even informally, of students that have to be reminded, in which area they're reminded, and then the PBIS committee gets together and looks at that data and, you know, figures out again, do we need to reteach lesson plans? Do we need to re-examine, you know, some aspects? So it's not a program and now we're implementing and we don't revisit it. It's revisited every other week and then weekly in our subset. And then in wellness meetings, you know, with the children, and so it's just a constant working at that culture.
And one of the things that I can say just from Pembroke is, you know, there are many opportunities for teachers to get together and collaborate. So they have grade level meetings twice a month. So that's designated time where you get together. Because sometimes in schools, there's no time for people to get together. You kind of grabbing people at lunchtime, maybe here or there. They actually designate time, and the high school does it as well. They actually have something at the high school, middle high school, that you don't see in a lot of high schools, which is this department time that's built into the school day. That's not a typical thing you see in high schools, but they've had it here forever, and it's what builds culture because it gives people an opportunity to work together. Just the other day, yesterday, I went to the PD at Pembroke, and they were working on this Project Lead the Way that Colin talked to you about, is one, that computer science strand that goes all the way through the grades. Two of the teachers agreed to go to get trained, and they did a phenomenal job. Like, not training on for, that's how you learn. You build culture when you see people that are in your building, and there's not this competition. You know, it's really about learning and professional engagement, and you know that's how you know a school culture is healthy. When you see people appreciating each other, wanting to be together. They have a culture committee. They have breakfasts. They organize all kinds of fun things.
Potluck
The idea
lunches,
of how many
salad bars.
evening events does Pembroke have, where you see the holiday fair. You know, the contract requires 3 nights. They do 2 conferences, an open house. Kindergarten teachers come for their big night, you know, the holiday fair on a Saturday.
Literacy
the
night.
Literacy night. That was unbelievable. Margaret makes a very good Carmen Santiago, by the way. You know, I mean, the teachers just go that extra mile. That's how you see, that's when you say a school culture is healthy, you know, when people want to be there and want to give back to the community. They want to be part of some good stuff. So that's what I look at when I look at a school culture.
Right, and congratulations on the success of that literacy night.
Thank you.
Yes,
It
that was-
really
There were people
exceeded.
Yeah,
Well said.
that is great.
Right.
That is good.
Well, I was in one of the upper grade classrooms, help doing like a station.
Right.
And so I got a chance to work a little bit with the teachers in this project, and again, seeing the literacy coach with a 4th grade teacher really kind of develop the whole idea, and then, you know, the different activities. So like I manned an activity in a classroom, but you can kind of see the, you know, the teachers who came back to help with that.
Right.
And at the district level, you have
great.
teachers on vertical teams. They're not paid for that. That's stuff that they're doing because it's important. I sent a note out to the Health and Wellness Committee, and I got 4 people that immediately emailed me back, said they'd be happy to be on it. You know, I mean, those kind of things are, I think, signs of, you know, good culture.
Yes, absolutely.
Right, that's great.
Yeah, it's great.
Can I go on with my question?
Yes.
Like, well, I'm kind of switching, so I'm on to goal 4.
Okay, cool.
I didn't know, you didn't have to go through each one, I just, so goal 4, so I'm excited about this one, Margaret, because, so increase the opportunities for parent and community members to volunteer. Because that really is the only thing that I ever hear that's, and I don't want to use the word negative.
Right.
Just, that's what I hear is, oh, I wish I had the opportunity to go in a little more. So I think this is great, because when your kids do move up to the middle high school, there is. They don't want you. True, they don't want you, but there's, it's just less of an opportunity to go in and see things. I do love the creativity showcase and things like that. And of course, you go to your kids' athletic banquets, things. But at that elementary level, it's so neat to go in to be able to, assist with the teachers and just see
Well,
how well the children are doing, together academically as well as socially and things like that.
But part of it is really trying hard to create opportunities even outside of a classroom, because yes, we do want parents to come in and help out in their child's classroom, but there are more ways within the school that parents can help, even if it's not in their child's classroom. And so those are also ways that we really want to start, providing some, just other opportunities throughout the school, helping out at events, cutting the leaves for our leaves. So those kinds of things that get a parent in. They may not be in a classroom, but they're in the school, they're helping out, and, Red Sox Week in the spring, or helping with the arts festivals, or the arts show.
Yep.
Type thing.
Or
So
the literacy night.
And the literacy
There
night.
was a
There-
sign-up genius for it.
Right.
And then you can also get the high school students involved for community service to sign up that way.
Right, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Well, there was also a sign up, I believe I don't know if it was a sign up genius or a survey monkey that gave, what, would you be willing to help here? Would you be
Right.
willing to help here?
Right.
So, and there were quite a few different ideas as to how you can participate and volunteer and whatnot. And so I'm seeing this in action.
Right.
Did you get quite a few people?
Well,
that
we got quite a few people to, the whole theme was travel. I don't know if you remember the Carmen Sandiego from the 90s. It was a kid show on TV. So it was Where in the World
Where in
is
the World, yeah.
Carmen Sandiego. Go online on our website and see the little video.
This is what the
The whole-
little task
Great
was.
game.
Yeah.
My favorite computer.
I'm like in a time warp, I'm like, no.
Oh, that was very.
It was the 90s. My
Early
kids used to watch it, yeah. But, so the whole thing was travel. So families were invited to create posters of either their family's history. The Leshendro family created one on Poland, on Poland. So they're either from their heritage, and to have photos and kind of do a brochure of a country, or just something they were interested in. And then every activity was around a particular country.
Heidi Beegans
That's
was
so neat.
Ireland, and she had in her room, she made
That looks neat.
just on her counter, she put all these Irish artifacts, like her father's sweater, a beret, little souvenirs from Ireland, and she just put a sign that said "The Museum," and she covered it with plastic so that people could walk by
And not
look-
touch.
and not touch, but look at it, and so there were a lot of fun things, ways that parents could get
That's
connected.
neat. I like that.
Yeah, it was really, and then tell them about the video. That was really fun.
Well, so the Carmen Sandiego, and I have to say, Tyler Polston
Yeah,
did an
he did.
amazing
He
job
did.
with the video. So the theme was that there were two teachers who stole the golden leaves,
out of Hope's drawer,
Yeah.
and Carmen Sandiego was the mastermind.
which was
I was Carmen
Margaret.
Sandiego in the red coat and red hat.
coat and hat.
So, but we filmed using the green screen in the makerspace.
Oh, funny.
So
Yeah, good.
I would be with a green screen, and then he transposed me in different places around the world. walking in front of the Pembroke School. I mean, just all different places. And then he filmed a black and white. It was Mr. Polston and Mrs. Donahoe, all dressed in black.
Oh, were
the
they
ones that took
they were the culprits?
So it had like pretend video cameras of the office and then Mrs. Doran's office of them taking leaves. It was like a caper. So it was just
They
just a
showed it to
fun-
the kids in advance.
We showed it a couple weeks ago, and then in one of the fourth grade lunches, I went on the stage, and I had the red trench coat on my hat, and I peeked, I moved the curtains, and I had my sunglasses and gloves, and I could see the kids, look, like, there's Carmen Sandiego! And then some knew it was me, and then some said, I think Carmen Sandiego is, and then they would name, like, some other person they thought it was.
Oh, that's
So,
funny.
Yeah, it was fun.
So they showed it, and then the kids went to the classes, which one Cheryl was in, and they had to do these little activities.
This is like
that
a
then
scavenger
they were-
hunt.
They were clues, and then they had to guess
where the leaves were found, where there were three things: where the leaves were found, I'm drawing a blank now.
who took them, right? What did they?
It wasn't who took them, but it was
Well, my-
just different places.
Now, my station was where the leaves were, between the paws of the Sphinx.
Sphinx.
That's where the leaves were.
That's funny.
But I guess the only little glitch in that video was the younger kids thought there were real robbers in the school.
Oh, really?
And
Because we showed it at a morning meeting to the entire school. So of course the older kids, because it was in a caper type style, but I did go into the kindergarten rooms and 10 hands. Mrs. Marr, my father is a policeman. He can help.
Well, I happened to be reading in the library that morning and to the kindergartners, and the kindergartners were jumping up, going to the window, going, I see the robber! I see the robber! There's no
So I had, everyone's teachers, please, was pretend, all pretend.
Oh, my God, that's
So we said next year we'll just show it to the older kids that.
right. Leave the
Yeah,
younger kids
impact.
out of it.
But the crowd, it was at least double over last year. So I said to Margaret,
great.
I think you have to do 2 nights next year. I don't know how you're gonna, because it was very carefully orchestrated. Like the younger kids went first, and the older families were supposed to come get to the ice cream social, and then they were. Then it reversed. So
So when the littles ended up with their activities, they all came for the ice cream, and it was, it was just we
Poor
didn't
Michael.
anticipate.
He was
We
trying
just-
to avoid the ice cream with his 2 kids.
Oh.
They weren't having any of that. He looked at me, he said, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for the sugar fix at 7:30 at night. Hey, it's a once in a lifetime thing. He wasn't really buying it.
Well, I think
But
it
it
was
was
hard
fun.
if you had
was.
a younger and an older, so you were there
For a long
2
time.
hours.
and
yeah.
the younger had to wait for the older, so, and I know 2 nights might be hard,
Well, that's the thing.
but
It's
that would
it's
be,
just such a festive, it
It was
really is
fun.
such a festive, and to see the excitement and the other, families working together
With their children.
parents with the children doing these activities was really wonderful. So it was a great night.
In Antarctica, I had a good time because they had shaving cream on the table, and we had to write
Snow.
words in the snow. So
Yeah.
I'm tactile. I like to touch. So I had a great time in Antarctica.
And then our next family evening will
really
be
fun.
in March with our steam night. So that will be another fun night.
I said they set
That's
the bar
good.
pretty high.
Yeah,
with
no,
literacy
that's
night.
great. It's good to get the
Yeah, it was
parents
great,
out and
Margaret.
go into the school, and that's good. Does anybody else have any questions? Margaret, did you want to highlight anything else?
Well, and then the other goal, or the first goal, is our STEM scopes for science. Again, new curriculum, so it's everything that goes into learning a new curriculum. And then also our second goal is the writing goal. And not only is it designed to really take that focused look at writing, which is something we do, but not in a coordinated way, and making sure now that we're aligning our units of study to the frameworks, but also looking at that high needs subgroup and making sure that we're supporting that, population that needs the support.
Right.
So that is a main focus of what our literacy coaches are doing. Am I getting the, wrap it up?
No, Jack's just doing his head to the superintendent's phone.
Jack's calling her.
Probably is, that's funny. Maybe he's calling her to say, wrap it up. That's funny. Well, this is great. Questions?
Yes.
So we have to vote on this? Right? Some things say vote and you don't have to, some don't say vote and you have to.
I don't think you do.
Be safe and vote, no?
I don't think so.
I think you have to vote, I know you have to vote on the middle high school one. But
Okay, well, let's vote on it because I don't want to have to re-vote on it. So I'll make a motion to approve the school improvement plan for the Pembroke School as presented by Principal Marr.
So moved?
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So why would the middle high school have to be,
It's just the law.
that's funny, really? Yeah, that elementary would. This will be your last time you'll be here presenting a Georgetown Middle High School SIP plan.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
I have mixed emotions.
You can always come back.
Yeah. Well, you can hire me to write them for.
Yeah, maybe.
There's an idea. This is excellent. I'm very impressed.
What do you want to talk about?
Well, do you want me to just summarize the goals?
Yeah.
Yeah,
can you
sure.
summarize it?
So-
Yeah.
Yes.
We have 5 goals. The first one is, for the first time ever that I've ever done, is a 3-year goal to develop assets and help reduce health risk behaviors. And we're about to embark on stage 1 of that by doing an asset survey. So tomorrow, in the middle school, we'll be doing that. And I believe on Tuesday, we'll be doing that in the high school.
Can
So
I ask you how your meeting went?
It went well. It was,
Was it well-attended, or?
No.
No, okay.
We doubled our participation.
yeah.
So there was 4?
More.
Oh, there was
No,
3 last time?
There were actually 8. There were some that came and went, but there were 8 in all that.
Okay.
And what about parents that have like come in to view the survey?
Nobody.
No, you haven't had anybody
I
at that
think-
level?
Yeah, I think,
Yeah, I know.
I don't know, I thought that Julia told me, I don't know if they came to view the survey, but she heard from, I would say, probably a total of 9 parents in the other grades that they wanted to opt out, so I don't know if
Yeah.
they
Okay.
looked at it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, in most, in the 7th grade.
okay,
Yeah.
And then there was a handful in the high school, 1 or 2.
okay.
So that's to establish a baseline, and then we'll do the risk behavior survey next year. And then in the 3rd year, we'll go back to the assets again. So that's the first goal, and we hope that will help identify areas that we need to work on. And I think what's different about this than we've done in the past with the risk behaviors, that we're trying to involve the entire community. So it's not just about what can the school do to increase assets, but what can the community do and what can parents do.
Right.
So it's a real partnership. I'll do the 2nd and the 4th goal together because they are, with regard to a goal, they're identical, except they're different subjects. So we're looking to move 15% of grades, 7th and 8th graders in both ELA and math from partially meeting expectations to meeting expectations in the WMCAS. The 3rd goal then is the second part of a 2-year plan where we're trying to increase appreciation for diversity in the middle high school. And we're really excited because the thing that I think will be most systemic is the Anti-Defamation League program that we finally got into.
Oh, right, we talked about that
Yeah,
a
and
while
we couldn't
ago,
get in. There's so many communities trying to do that.
especially right now.
So we got in through the back door, really, because we didn't get in again this summer. And it begins in the summer by sending some staff to a train-the-trainer model, and we couldn't get in. So we're doing some of the stuff that they're gonna come to the school in the spring, they're gonna meet with the faculty, they're gonna meet with the students. So that usually is after the, when the staff goes for the summer. So we have 2 members that are gonna go next summer. And that'll kinda wrap up year 1, and then we'll get into year 2 after that. And then the final goal is to finally bring the ask in here and have them do their accreditation visit and write their report, and that you'll probably get that report in the summertime, maybe when school gets out, but I doubt it because they're probably not going to meet until June. And then that starts the cycle up again, where there are probably going to be some recommendations that need to be acted on right away in terms of a special report, and then the 2-year report to handle the rest of the recommendations, and then a 5-year report, and that kind of ends that cycle, and then you get into the pre-self-study again, getting ready for the next one. So
Just keeps going, it's like a dog chasing
I will
flies.
tell you that we're the last, the 2018 people are the last ones that are going through the system that they're using now. They're revamping once again. Yeah, and one of the biggest things that changes is they're doing away with the school-wide rubrics. So for each expectation that we have for student learning, there is a rubric that is attached to it, and they're getting rid of those. So
But replacing it with something else? I mean, how
I'm
are they
not
going
quite
to-
sure what they're doing with that. They have been very receptive to really complaints from schools because the people were getting ready to leave them
Oh,
in
interesting.
mass.
Because it was, yeah. Because it was
So
just too
some of
long.
the things, especially the advisory, if you will, in high schools, that really schools across the region were bucking, that they finally really bent on that. And schools don't like the school-wide rubrics because they're so general, they're not that effective. So I think that, I'm not quite sure what they're doing with that, but there'll be workshops, and it really won't affect us for a while. But we will have to adjust to their new standards. Like our mission statement is, it was written in the last version of the NEAS standards, and we had to adjust it in 2014 to a system of it's a very different standard now, but it's about beliefs rather than a mission.
Core beliefs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
core values and beliefs.
Right. Well, we talked about that too when we went with the graduation attire.
Right.
We're talking about that, that was the core belief,
Yeah.
you know, was part of that decision.
Did you see in the Saturday Globe about how it was explaining the new MCAS and how it's the new wording for it?
The meeting you mean the new scales?
Right, the new scales for it, and how it's very different, and how now that the MCAS is also going to grade on the readiness of the student for the following year. It was a really good article that explained everything.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I'm well versed in it, obviously, for,
Yeah, it is definitely a different standard.
Yeah, and it's really hard to compare with last year's scores and
Yeah.
what's going to come out, because it is.
yeah. Well, that's what they're telling us, because there are a sizable amount of students that were proficient
And not
and
anymore.
now are partially meeting So it's, I mean, we could go on for days to debate about that and what really is going on there, but that's for another day.
Next to your goal 5, it says by March 9th, 2017. We just want to change
Where you
that.
see that?
Next to goal 5,
She's in the chart.
like in the bold.
Oh, way down, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yep.
But everything looks good. I'm sure everyone will be having a big sigh of relief once the NEASC is over. I know it's a lot of work. I know the pressure and everything that people are feeling, and
Wait till you get the bill.
So Peter, how does
Suzanne.
how will the students know about it? You know, how would Chloe know about the expectations for how the students are gonna be involved, or do they already know that?
We don't know yet.
Oh,
So what's going to happen is that they'll put a committee together in probably at the first of the year and select a chair, and then the chair will come to the school and we'll
okay.
do it that way.
Some teachers are starting to talk about it because a lot of students don't know what it is. So some teachers are talking about it and that it is going to happen this school year.
oh, good.
There's actually several students that are on the standing committees.
Oh, okay.
So
That's great.
Yes.
And I like that the
but
students are
we're gonna
getting
need.
involved.
I'll call for some parents that are interested to come on with the first day they come on a Sunday afternoon and they meet with groups. So we're gonna need some parents to come in.
I don't take calls on the weekend. Fun, Sunday afternoon.
Good times.
We'll be there.
Yeah, I'd be interested.
And did you figure out where they're gonna stay yet?
Not yet.
No.
No, that's a job for the steering committee, and the principal isn't on the steering committee. So they're starting to look. I talked to some members, and they're starting to look around.
Yeah, I mean, the closest, well, Amesbury.
Families, how about host
We
families?
did talk about host families, but,
Well, you can't because they have to be. They work until midnight.
oh, right, they have to be at like a
They have
hotel
to
with
have a
a,
workroom. They have to have certain facilities.
yeah.
I've been on 3 of those committees. It's
Food,
very
yep.
intense. You're
So-
working right up until like
Next
11
big bowls
o'clock
of
at night.
M&Ms.
And then the next day, you're right in there. You go and constantly meeting with
I think
different
they
groups.
stayed at the Peabody Marriott last year.
Yeah, I think that's what you said.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's
not
that
the
brand new-
Ferncroft. No.
Oh, no, you mean like the extended stay
Or
type
even maybe the,
of like Marriott?
No, the one in off of Centennial Drive.
There's a
yeah,
brand-
that's the
yeah.
Peabody Marriott.
Yeah, of
Hampton
course,
Inn.
people
Oh,
don't have
Hampton
Hampton.
Inn, yeah.
I was thinking like the one with
Amesbury
the little
has some.
kitchens.
They have a brand.
Yeah, no.
They want them to be within a certain radius,
Oh,
because, you know,
in
you have to
Amesbury?
travel every day.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't
It's right in front of the
really
stop.
nice.
20 minutes
right
is
on
probably
114.
reasonable.
And then,
Really? Oh my
Really
goodness.
has to be like a restaurant.
okay,
Access to
gotcha.
food.
Yeah,
They
like a
could have
connection,
food. Yeah.
restaurant connection. Well, that's good. It looks great.
Thanks.
Thank you, Peter. Uh-oh, what was going on?
It's never good.
So I will make a motion to approve the school improvement plan for the Georgetown Middle High School as presented by Principal Lucia.
So moved?
Second. Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you both very
Yep,
much.
thank you. Okay, we have financial report. Am I doing things right here? Yes. We had,
These were the transfers from last
yeah,
week.
okay. So, oh, we have food service donations too. I'll make a motion to approve line item transfers 81 to 125 for a total reduction of $130,818.38 as presented by Suzanne.
So moved?
Second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Did you have questions about this? I know you love the
Yeah,
revolving
I do
account
like to hear,
update.
yes,
Me too.
thank you very much,
I like
Suzanne.
this, yeah.
I do like to hear about the revolving accounts. And, I mean, it looks like very good news to me. We've got, all the preschool tuitions are current with,
Yeah, we're doing very well in the preschool.
right,
And athletics was,
athletics
Yeah,
sounds
that's
good.
good too, so it's good news. Thank you. Again.
Well, I guess it's amazing where we were like
Yes.
a year and a half ago.
But I mean, knowing that it might not be such good news, not always such good news, but it is now.
So there were 18 scholarships given. Do you mean free and reduced?
Mm-hmm.
When you say scholarships? And then no family caps?
not yet,
Were we-
no. 'cause it
Oh,
was
it's only the
fall.
first, yeah. So of course.
Usually this spring season is when you see.
Is when
that.
you see the caps, yeah. Okay. How are things going with the food services in terms of, we're gonna be having to meet relatively soon to talk about just how things are going. So how do you see
Well, I
things
think that
going?
it's going well, I think everybody's, taking Sean well, and he's doing, getting along with everybody and doing a good job. And, I think that, but adding the coffee shop was also an expense. So, we haven't necessarily seen, a huge jump in
Return.
revenue yet. Hoping to.
How are we marketing that?
The coffee shop?
Yeah.
Well, I think that we're gonna try to change some things up, in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
He's only had it open in the morning, so it's really not open that often. He's thinking of maybe moving a station over there, so he can keep it open all day.
Right, so people are seeing it and, yeah.
Yeah, and so
And
we're
adjusting
hoping,
the staff, not adding staff, but adjusting the hours.
Sure.
of
because we
staff.
did add a staff member
wanna have
when
it
we
after school.
got the coffee shop, so that's an expense. And not necessarily the revenue is covering all of that yet. So that's why
Okay.
if we think we keep it open during the day, we move a station over, we have more free and reduced meals coming out of there, as well as à la carte, and, sell coffee during the day to the teachers,
Right.
maybe a little bit, I don't know how
And
much
and
they're
after
gonna go
school,
down.
we're talking about having the coffee shop open after school.
Yeah, for like 45 minutes or so.
So, because we just wouldn't have the employee that does, the new employee come in as early in the morning. They'd
Right.
Come in later and stay later, and from what we understand, the woman is interested in
Yeah.
that, so.
So what about the vending machines and things like that? How is that going?
The vending machines are doing better. I think that we're gonna see an increase in the winter.
With the winter sports?
Yeah, Pembroke has not seen that much.
No.
But the middle high school
But they
has seen
haven't
more.
had their GA.
Oh, right, because basketball
Right,
season
yeah.
will
all the
start,
time.
yeah. And it's as soon as you walk in.
Right,
At that
so after the
location.
holiday, I think once the weekends, when they're in there in the gyms and with
You
the
should be seeing,
parents and the
Yeah,
kids.
that'll make a
and-
difference, for sure.
So we really, it's only been a couple of months, so we kinda need a little bit more time, I think, to.
for
to look
those.
at
I
that.
do think the winter sports will hike that up.
Mhm.
So hopefully that will happen. I did hear a couple of complaints about time in line at the middle high school again.
You did?
Oh,
Yeah,
Which particular line, or just in general?
I don't know.
The panini line?
Huh?
Panini line?
Probably the panini.
It probably
Right, yeah,
is.
because it's so popular.
Because it was
The
like
yellow
10
lines like fly.
It was like
Yeah,
10
yeah,
minutes,
Oh,
like, to
Panini
wait.
line.
So just
Yeah.
like one
I bet
panini
it is.
machine, just
No,
one
there's
person?
no, we have-
two.
there's
There's
two.
two.
But.
But it's popular, they like
all the
it,
kids- all the
so.
kids love
And
it.
it's-
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of kids are,
Different grades.
But you hate to have them love it, but then say, I don't wanna wait.
Yeah.
right.
So,
no,
you know
I
what I mean?
Yeah,
Would there be a possibility of like adding another one in the
coffee shop.
coffee shop?
Well, I think that's what he's thinking, is moving that over.
Yeah.
And then maybe having two people in there initially to get the rush through, and then move the other person back to the other line. That's
How
what-
many paninis can you make at one time?
Two.
Two, you just have the
Just
two
two.
machines.
I mean,
And-
two
and-
machines, so each machine only makes one panini at a time?
Yeah.
How much are the panini machines?
They're not, they weren't expensive.
I forget, to tell you the truth.
They weren't
but
expensive, though.
I could get that for you.
I mean, is this something like a George Foreman type of?
It's a,
Similar,
yeah,
yeah.
you pull it
Because I mean, I
down.
have
down
one in
and
my
but it
kitchen
takes a
and you
few
just make
minutes.
one at
Yeah.
a time, but
Yeah,
it's
that's what it
tiny.
is.
Yeah,
But
but
these
we're
are-
trying to make them to order. I mean, they haven't been doing that, but we want to
don't
get
have one
back
that-
to making them to order.
four
Yeah, you
at a
want to make them
time.
to order.
Yeah. Well,
You would need more
you're
people.
serving-
Then you would
yeah,
need,
you're
if you
serving
had
one-
4 going,
one
you'd
child.
need more than one
Right.
person making the
Right.
4.
Right.
And we can't afford that, that's for sure.
No, they wouldn't fit in there either.
But we'll watch that. Sean just put together, because I looked at it today, a survey that he's gonna put out
Oh,
to the
good.
kids.
Yeah, next week.
So that, that is something to look forward to. And he
Yep.
also
How will he
developed it.
administer that?
He's,
Is he gonna go talk?
guy is
We're
gonna
do
force
it-
them to do it at
We
the
gotta do
table.
it during lunch. It's gonna be a paper,
So at the middle high school?
Yeah.
middle high
Good.
school, yep.
Guy said to Sean, I'm gonna make him take it.
Yeah.
So is it short, like?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not, it's
probably-
but it'll have quite a bit of information
yeah,
from them,
I
you know,
think
it's
it
more like
was-
a checkbox
Sure.
thing, and then a couple of little boxes
There were
they
some
can
short
fill out.
answers. There were 3
If
short
they wanna
answers.
see some improvement or things like
Yeah,
that, they'll take
yeah,
the time
just
to
get
do it.
their, you know.
And he
their
put together a
feedback.
catering menu that I asked him to go back and just look at some meals. He put the catering menu was more, kind of appetizers, snacky things.
Yeah, it wasn't like
Yeah.
more specific.
And I
more
was,
specific.
I would like in the winter to see if we could find, maybe 1 or 2 sports that we could advertise to that maybe would be interested in, if there were 3 options, so, what could he make for $5 or $6 a person, right?
Mm-hmm.
That could feel like it was being catered, right? So the poor
Or
parents.
for like the banquet?
Yeah, so the
banquet
poor
you're saying?
parents don't have to run around, scrambling. It's like, if we could do it, So he did put together, it's in our action plan, that we was gonna do a catering menu. He did put it together. He ran it by me. I think he showed Suzanne. I just gave him a couple ideas I thought he should think about, and he took them back and said, yeah, he's gonna do it. So, he's following that action plan.
Maybe
It's coming in
advertising
December.
those services at a particular time, like, the week before the captain's parents get that banquet
Yeah.
together, it would
Yeah.
have to be just
Yeah, it's gotta be before.
timed perfectly to
Yeah.
let them know this is an option.
Yeah.
Not that it's not their only option, but it's an
Yeah.
option that they can
So
look at.
Yeah, so we
good
definitely,
idea.
but now, since this is getting ready for the winter season, we wanna start talking about it now, because we do know that time, those seasons fly by.
Yeah.
Well, and could a catering type menu be a cost savings for the NEASC people?
Yeah, I think we
Yes, we
talked
talked
about that
about
too, right, during the day, that they should be having the snacks and
Yeah.
stuff through that. That would be great, instead of having them go out elsewhere for lunch and.
They usually eat the school lunches.
They probably
Oh, okay.
look at that.
So
They have
hook 'em up with
breakfast
some
at the
paninis.
hotel,
Yeah.
and dinner at the hotel, but they eat lunch. at
Lunch.
the
School.
Yeah. So,
Okay,
but yeah, so he's working hard on that.
good. I see him all around at all the different schools, which is nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
And he's very personable and likes the
Good.
kids a lot.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing how the students respond to the survey.
Yeah.
Which is great. So that's good. We were asking for that for some time, so it's good to see with the first quarter that it's, well, just into the second, that he's gonna get that done.
Well, that's when you put things in an action plan. on paper, it really
Yeah,
helps.
and you have to, right. Yep. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the first quarter financial report as presented by Director of Finance and Operations, Suzanne Sutherland.
So moved. Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we need Peter at all for the field trip? We don't really need him, do we? We're not gonna talk about that tonight.
No,
Okay.
yeah, no, we're good.
You guys can go.
Yeah. Have a nice Thanksgiving, if I don't see you guys. Okay, so we have some athletic donations, which is nice. So, the assistant AD and, Mike sent out letters to local businesses. It's so nice to see, and it wasn't a shocker to see the first businesses out there either. They're always so generous. So that's nice to see their hard work and stuff actually get some returns on it. So this will be for local businesses to advertise around the turf field.
Oh, great.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
gotten quite a few.
And they're
really
going
good.
to, go around and make personal contacts with
Yep,
some
he
of the
said that, that's
businesses.
nice too, yeah, which is,
We
that's
actually got
great.
another one, I think, today, so it didn't make it
Yeah,
on the,
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, great.
okay.
on the next one.
The,
Look at that.
do I have to include the dollar amounts?
That's up to you. I
Yeah,
mean,
it doesn't matter, right?
I don't know.
I'll keep the dollar amounts too.
Sometimes it's nice for people to be acknowledged for what they're donating.
Okay. Does UFP have a dollar amount? I know I saw,
Yes, I think it's $500.
yeah, I did see it on that piece of
that,
paper,
sorry?
on the actual receipt.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for is the receipt.
Okay. So I will make a motion to accept the donations from the following businesses with a ton of gratitude. We have Noonan's Florist and Greenhouses that have generously donated $1,000. Crosby's Market, $500. Maestra, am I saying that right, you think? Maestra? $500. And UFP Technologies, $500. So we greatly appreciate that, and we look forward to seeing your beautiful banners hanging by the turf field. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you very much. We have food service donations. I will make a motion to accept an anonymous donation of $56.60 and $25 for the food services program to be used for student lunches, which is always very much appreciated.
So moved.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Very nice. So we're gonna talk about the field trip policy that the governance subcommittee has been working on. I hope you had an opportunity to take a look at it. I did get some feedback that I would like to talk with Cheryl and the superintendent again, so I don't think we're in a position to move forward with a vote, but I would love it if we could have one more meeting. So I know some questions that were brought up, so if you guys have any questions that you'd like us to take a look at, we could do it, if we could do it like now.
Okay.
So we could
So we
get
could
this
make a
moving, because I
list
do
of-
think
yeah.
this policy needs to be, like, the stamp of approval needs to
Yes.
be put on this. So Cheryl and I, we basically looked at a couple of different school districts' policies, and we found one that we thought was very comprehensive. I thought it was, it touched all the things that we as a subcommittee talked about. So I'm hoping that you guys feel the same way. But again, there are a few things that were brought up earlier today that I think we have to just take a look at before we can give the the final sample of it. We thought it was important to like clearly define the differences between school-sponsored, non-school sponsored, school-sponsored with the vendor, things like that, because that always seems to have been like a gray area.
What happens if you cancel? Who can
Yes,
cancel?
We had a
right.
couple
Who
typos.
can cancel,
We have a
who,
couple typos.
yeah, we can't depend on Word, I guess, and spell check.
Does this have?
And between school-sponsored and non-school-sponsored, there's always somebody responsible for the group.
Well, with the non-school sponsored, the way that I was looking at non-school sponsored and the way I was, when I was reading through things with other schools, it's a non-school sponsored is we have no control over it, nothing to do with it because it's not a school sanctioned
Okay.
field
So
trip.
like for,
So,
sorry, so for example, if, you know, the kids did something that was not, you know, they needed to be reprimanded or whatever, it has nothing to do with the school, so there's no sanctions or
Right, if
anything.
That is
if a
my-
parent said, I wanna take a group of kids on April vacation to France, right? And said, I'm gonna hire EF tours.
Oh, okay, so it's
So
through the
EF
tour,
So EF tours.
and there's no reflection on the school.
Then that would be
Okay.
school sponsored, right? That's my understanding is,
Yes.
so, in that case, whatever the tour, it's then.
Right,
we're
the
not
behavior.
required
So the
to participate.
liability is on the tour company and the
Yes.
parents.
Right, because that is one of the things that, we did get guidance from different groups we looked at, including MASC, who basically said, hey, we think the trips are great, but as soon as you vote on it and approve it as a school committee, you're on the hook, so to speak. And so what we did is we put out, we generated some questions and I put them out to the superintendent's listserv, and we got quite a few responses.
Quite a few.
And, basically, we saw that almost all of the ones we heard from still do the trips. They think the educational benefit is valuable. And they really follow this advisory, which is what this policy is kind of based on. You just have to have things in place. I also contacted the insurance company for the town, Maya, and asked them, so if the school committee votes on it, and it's school sponsored, and somebody gets hurt, does the town's insurance cover it? Basically, I think what I heard was, yes, if it's not medical.
Well, then the person's medical
The
would
the
cover
person's medical.
Oh,
at
okay.
that point.
Yeah.
You would think anyways, right?
Right,
Just like if you were in a car
The
accident
other
and
thing
rent a
that
car,
wasn't
your
clear
insurance
from
covers it.
different groups is,
Right, if you didn't.
some groups, one of the questions was, do you require people going on these trips to have a certain level of insurance?
Right,
Right?
that's what I was,
Remember we
that's what I
talked
was
about it with
wondering,
the French
yes.
trip, you're right.
That was my question.
Many of them said, nope, they just do what the tour company
Recommends.
recommends.
Yeah.
Because, some people didn't feel that it was the school district's kind of role or
Purview.
authority to say,
You have to.
you have
Spend
to.
this much.
Can't.
And I think actually that was one of Michael's comments, was he wondered about that too, like should we, but do we have the right to?
Because wasn't that recommended by?
Well, Naomi
someone?
recommended
Yeah.
that, she
Well,
said.
I think it is important to put in the policy that
As a
as a school
recommendation.
committee, we do recommend
You recommend.
that you research the different options for insurance.
Travel insurance.
But correct, it's not like
It's a
we can hold, it's a recommendation.
If the school committee decides to cancel the trip, then be forewarned, right? That you just, that's what wasn't in the French thing, no one knew that if the school canceled the trip, that you
Would be
might
out your
lose your
money.
money.
Right,
Right.
right.
So
And
that's-
also if it's, if it's a school trip, what's the ratio of chaperones to kids?
Yeah, that did come.
So
That's
that-
in there.
right,
It's,
okay.
Well,
one-
right, so we did 1 to 10.
We did.
So I know Hamilton Wenham on
So that's-
international
that's my
trips,
next
they did
point.
change it 1 to 6. But when we talked with Mary, she felt, and she went to France with the group, she felt that 1 chaperone to every 10 children
at the
was
high
adequate.
school- At the high school level.
at the high school level.
Okay.
So it's the difference between recommended again and required.
Well, yeah,
So if
that's
it's
what I was
recommended-
questioning.
So it says here recommended ratio.
Right.
So.
But I want to know what's required.
That's right. And I don't know if you can have a required, doesn't it somewhat depend on the trip?
Well, I think based on how many kids are going, how many chaperones they allow for free, is that
Well, that
typically
was
how
a
it works?
factor, like I think Mary said, depending on the number of kids, you get 1 per,
I think it was 1 per 10.
10,
1 per
yeah.
10.
It was 1 per 10. So
That's kind of why we went with 1 per 10.
But well, exactly, I, when you look at the tour companies, that's what they recommend.
Right.
So if you go
Right.
on to like the EF tours and you look at the international trips,
Yep.
that's what they recommend. So I'm saying, okay, well, these tour company, EF tours been around for
Fair
a
enough.
while and,
Their business.
right, so that's why I was fine with leaving it 1 to 10
Yeah.
versus Hamilton Wenham doing 1 to 6 for international. And also with Mary already going and her having firsthand knowledge of it.
And we could always, depending on where it is, we can say, we'd like you to have a lower ratio, but this just basically says 1 to 10
Yeah.
is kind of what we shoot for. On the high end.
What else?
Because if we made it 1 to 6,
Well-
we might have trouble getting the
Yes, you
chaperones,
might.
and we don't want, if it's
Yeah, and they have to pay, if they have to pay for the trip, it might be hard.
Right, and I know that was one of Michael's questions too, about if someone did get hurt,
Yes.
who would be responsible for that? So, I would,
If it's
I would think if it's-
school-sponsored,
Right.
then the town's insurance would be involved.
but not if it's medical.
Well, I thought that's what she said. I'll verify that
Yeah,
again.
okay, but that would make sense, because you would think that is when the child's
Medical
insurance, but then again, I've been out of the country too, and it's very different.
I'm thinking, what if the bus gets in an accident and some kids get injured, so that then relies back on the
Well, you're gonna have them
school?
sign a release. You're gonna have them sign a release of claims. That's required. So, but that doesn't mean people won't sue you. That's the advice of attorneys. They'll always tell you, you protect yourself as best you can. Buyer beware, right? So, you know that these things can happen. You're signing off that you're holding the town harmless, but it doesn't stop somebody from suing you. And usually, the only way people would usually win would be negligence, like if we were just completely negligent. Just absolutely negligent. Okay. But when insurance companies get involved, there's always
Right.
negotiation.
Right. I mean, we tried to, as a subcommittee, look at everything that has gone through our minds as to what could occur, and looking at the other policies, we tried to, but you can't, cover everything that could possibly happen, right? I mean, we have to try to be as clear as possible. I agree with that. So let's take another once over on it. Take a look at those questions, and if we have to call our attorneys to see if
We certainly can do
if we
that.
have any questions,
I thought you
legality.
did a good job on it. I mean,
Oh,
they
yeah.
were, it's
Yeah,
pretty
I think
comprehensive.
it was-
Yeah.
Really, I think you've covered everything.
We were in a time crunch too.
No, I know, but I mean, just
Oh, we
looking, Barbie, when you sent
It
it out
doesn't show.
electronically to look it over.
Yeah, oh, good, thank you.
You remember the trip when we had students going to Europe and there was the volcano from Iceland?
Oh,
And the smoke.
Oh, and the
came.
smoke and the planes couldn't travel there, right?
Right, yeah.
Where were
What
we
I
going?
remember from
I don't remember,
where-
but somebody
because-
on my street
You know it
had
was
a daughter
in the
going
news.
on that trip, and
don't
they all
remember
lost their money.
Yeah,
I mean, because they didn't have travel insurance. So like when we recommend to parents, that this is the travel insurance, it's
right,
such
because,
a good
and we
idea to
should use
have
that as an example, because who would
Yeah.
ever have thought that that volcano would have caused, I know people going to Europe,
Right.
none of the planes could
Right.
fly
I mean,
through.
of all the
Yeah.
days, all the times in the year that volcano could go, it had
And
to
that's
be
up to
when
the
our
individual.
I know, when our kids were going.
Barbie,
What?
it's up to the individual to purchase trip
Right, trip
insurance
insurance
as
through
opposed to the group.
Through the vendor,
Okay.
yeah.
Which, people can purchase different
Different levels.
Right.
And that was the thing with the French trip. Many of the parents did purchase some form of insurance, but only one got the highest, where if we did cancel it, they would have gotten their money back. So the fact that the majority of them purchased some kind of insurance, it just, I do want to put in the policy, strongly recommend you reviewing each level, just to,
really do agree.
yeah,
with
because
our
in this day and
attorney
age,
that
anything could happen.
Parents
And it
should-
could happen even if we were sending our kids to the Museum of Science.
Yeah.
We have to
Exactly.
be realistic
But
here,
if
right?
things that are
But
happening
if
in the
you're-
country now, they're not international worries anymore.
But if you're
Exactly,
expending
so-
a significant amount of money, I mean, in the thousands of dollars, I really
You wanna be
recommend
covered, yeah.
getting the highest level of insurance possible.
Absolutely. So then we will then talk about this
Yes, because,
after.
well, it depends. It sounds like you would prefer to have the policy in place before you approve any trips.
How do you feel about that? So, we have the Quebec trip again in front of us. We're not meeting again until the 12th,
14.
the 14th of December, so we.
Is that
if
under
you
a crunch?
Yes.
Well, it is, because she's going January 26th, so she definitely needs to have an answer relatively soon. I thought it would be tonight, but it's dependent on how you feel. If you want the policy in place prior to reviewing this, then we would have to have a special meeting with just this on the agenda, the policy and the field trip on the agenda. So it would have to, and, you know, we could possibly meet during the day, I know some can't, but if we have a quorum, we could at least do that. But I'm sure she needs to
Get this underway.
get this
Or
underway.
you can approve, the other option, you can approve the trip
And then,
and then work,
And then
continue
do
to
the
work on the
policy, that's-
policy.
Right.
okay.
Because you've approved these kind of trips in the past, right? We
Right,
have
but if
the
you're approving the
policy.
trip before the policy.
Well, you have a field trip policy now, it's just not as extensive
Okay, it's not as
as,
extensive.
as extensive as this. This is gonna be great, this policy that we
Right.
put together.
Well, like for me, knowing what I know based on talking to our lawyers, I would like, personally, I would like to see the policy in place first
Okay,
before the trip
gets
is
approved.
approved. Because I do think it's a great trip and I want to see it
I'd love to see the
happen.
kids go.
But really worries me without,
But if something
formal
happened that
policy in
the
place.
the policy that we have now didn't cover and this one would, that would
right.
not be good for the district.
So would you, if that's the case, would you want to try to meet right after Thanksgiving? Like that last week in November?
Yeah.
Try to, because I can post a
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah.
And,
Let's see.
hopefully that will give her enough time.
Okay, so
I could do,
governance, what the,
So do you want to try to find something during the day?
well, governance, we have a scheduled meeting for the 29th.
oh, right.
That's a crazy
And
day
the
in the
20
morning.
and
The
the-
afternoon would be
And the
okay.
28th, we have public relations in the goal stuff.
Right.
So, but we could meet right before that if you want. I have administrative team in the morning.
Morning of the 28th I can do.
What time?
I could do it after 11 because I have administrative team, or I could do it before 9:30.
Either one.
On the 28th, is that right?
28th,
When do you have public relations?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
Okay, I could do after 11 on the 28th.
Yeah, I could too.
Do you want to? Do you want to do it? Like at 2 o'clock or 2:30, and just or
Actually, the 11 o'clock would
Would
be
be
good,
better.
so then I can
manage
get
it?
Kyle to get him where he has to be.
Yeah, I can't do 2:30. That doesn't.
Can you do 11:30?
11:30.
Can Suzanne, you wouldn't?
Yeah,
be able
no.
to. Is there a day of the week that
So on Fridays,
flexible- you have-
I'm much more flexible. I'm out at 11:30.
Okay.
Friday looks good to me. December 1st.
Except for December 1st.
Except for that.
Yeah, that's
Okay, let's
late.
stay with
That's
the
late.
28th.
Let's stay with the
Yeah.
28th. So what
Gonna
time
have
do you
to
want to do?
stay with the
11:30?
28th.
Okay.
Suzanne, if you don't mind.
No.
But we will definitely make sure you get,
Post a
you know,
meeting.
you'll get the policy,
For-
and then you can give us whatever, you know, how you feel about it.
Okay, so here's my
you have any
question.
questions?
Is that a governance or is that a
No,
special
it will
school
be,
committee?
it will be a school
Special
committee
school
meeting.
committee
Okay,
meeting.
and so governance has to meet before that?
Well, I think what we'll do is we can try and
But you want to,
work on this again through like email.
Okay.
Yeah, that works. So
and then you'll
post a
send it back
meeting-
out like you did?
Yep.
Okay.
Post a meeting for 11:28,
At 11:30.
11:30. Okay.
Okay,
Okay, and
good.
the items are policy and the field trip. Field trip to Quebec. Okay,
Okay.
perfect.
Do we have in here the MOA for
You know
the,
what, Barbie? Yeah, we have it in my office.
but that's okay, because you know what, I have not,
Promise you I'd bring
I
it.
didn't hear back from Scott about that, what he thought about it, because I did send him a copy of it too, and said that we would be looking to approve that, and then he didn't get back to me, so
Do you want to add it to this agenda?
we may have to add it to that agenda,
So MOA for.
this gymnasium scoreboard.
Scoreboard.
Yeah, let's do that. And we have the policy for the new website guidelines to be approved?
And that's really just a couple of changes and a couple words.
Right,
And it's elimination of some stuff that we just don't do and
correct. It's very minimal.
always recommended that we.
So, I will make a motion to accept policy IJNDC-R, new website guidelines and procedures for approval.
So moved?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I just want to also let you know that starting tomorrow, you'll have a substitute for Laura. I didn't tell you that already.
Great.
Yes, so we,
Although,
excited
that should
about
help you out.
Yeah, that'll help a lot, and Joanne Sherman will, kind of really be training her. She's coming in tomorrow for the day.
I know, Joanne's been amazing.
She really
so
has.
I want to
She-
thank her for
Yes, she has.
doing so much, and I know the business office has helped.
Yep.
It
Been
takes a
true
village.
effort. Yeah.
You know, just everybody chipping in, which is really nice. We wish Laura the best. We hope to see her
Yes.
soon, but that's good. I'm glad to see that there's gonna be someone like semi-permanent in there, and we can.
The desk, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
Thanks.
Yep. So it's
Okay.
gonna be fine.
I am gonna ask that we don't talk about subcommittee because I have to get home. Is that okay with everybody, unless I leave and you guys
We
want to
haven't met.
continue?
I think many subcommittees haven't met. so.
Great.
Okay.
Can I just say that there's going to be a CPAC meeting on November 21st, and it's catch up with Jack. So our very own Director of Special Education, Jack Tiana, will be there at 6:45 to 8 o'clock in the Pembroke Library.
Okay, November 21st.
Yes.
Okay, great. Anything else? We talked to a great extent with the PTA auction. Sounds like it's gonna be a great night, so I hope people are able to take advantage of it. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get the, the beautiful book that you made. It's awesome. Yeah, it's beautiful.
That book
You did a
is
great
fun, it
job.
was fun to make.
Yeah, I'm sure it
And
was.
all the
I'm sure it
projects look
was.
really nice,
Yeah.
so.
They are.
That's
They're really
good.
special.
Great, I wish them the best of luck. So I will make a motion to adjourn. There's no reason to have an executive session this evening, so at 9:08, we'll adjourn.
So moved.
Go ahead.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thanksgiving.
Yep.